All right, good morning, everybody. Good morning, good morning. What a great day, especially after a tough weekend, weather-wise. I'm Jano Lieber, the president of MTA Construction Development, and I'm here with Councilmember Powers, who represents this district, MTA Chief Accessibility Officer Hugh Arroyo, there you are, Victor Calisi, who is a senior city official, but from our standpoint is an MTA board member. And we're joined by folks who represent the disability community, our own MTA advocacy groups. They're all here, and the folks who did the construction. And I especially want to acknowledge the folks who actually do the construction. They did it during COVID. This project was accelerated during COVID, and that goes to the credit of the Forte Construction Company who did this job, as well as our own team at MTA, assisted by AECOM and other construction consulting professionals. So we're here to celebrate the opening of another accessible station here at 57th and 7th Avenue. This is a project that finished early because when COVID happened, we started to take advantage of the opportunity to do more work, to do it more quickly, and this is one of the results. It has been a very big couple of weeks for major projects at the MTA. We announced that we're resuming the Penn Station Access Project, which is going to begin to deliver mass transit service for people in the East Bronx who have never had mass transit, Co-op City, Parkchester, Morris Park, Hunts Point. We had a huge milestone last week with Governor Cuomo on the East Side Access Project, where he announced with me the major construction completion milestone. And last week we also got the federal government to approve the environmental submission for the Gateway Tunnel Project, which is a huge project for the region. But nothing is more important, and I mean it, for the MTA and the city's future and our mass transit's future than our commitment to ADA accessibility. It's a commitment that is enshrined in our 2020 to 24 capital program, and it's a commitment we have maintained right through COVID. With the region reopening, with the city reopening, we have to get projects like this completed on time. And I have to acknowledge our project leads at Construction Development, Vikram Tadla and Syed Rizvi, Hassan Abdallah at AECOM, and Reddy Vengala and the crew at Forte Construction. I mentioned them before, but I'm going to keep mentioning them. Great job. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And you overcame all the challenges represented by COVID to make this station fully compliant with the ADA, finally. We installed 3 elevators and reconstructed 6 escalators. The mezzanine was expanded significantly, and we added ADA platform improvements like raised boarding areas, tactile warning strips at the edges, and automatic fare control, railings, gates, and turnstiles. Getting this done was not easy. There was a ton of really complicated utility work, 500 linear feet of new Con Ed gas lines, Empire City Subway conduits, that's where we put all the digital infrastructure, new water main, new steam line, reconstructing manholes. Every one of these things is a huge undertaking. The team overcame it. And as I said, despite these challenges, the project was able to accelerate and move more quickly while ridership was low. So we impacted fewer riders and gave them the benefits earlier. And this was all accomplished, close your ears, contractor, this is all accomplished without any special financial incentives to the contractor. The completion of this project on budget and ahead of schedule is, as I said, another data point in the proof of our commitment to system-wide accessibility. We actually during COVID, we've finished 12 accessibility projects, and in this case, we leveraged federal dollars to upgrade a station that's located at the heart of the city's of Midtown and the city's tourist district. All these hotels around us we want them back and we want them full. To keep the momentum going, we've awarded $576 million in contracts to build out another 13 stations, more than double the amount awarded the year before. And that puts us on track to maintain the torrid pace we established during the COVID year. 10 of those 13 projects are part of the MTA's 2020 to 24 capital program, which includes a $5.2 billion unprecedented investment in accessibility at 70 stations. Now more than ever, as we reopen, we need a transit system that is truly accessible to all New Yorkers. It will speed our recovery, and it's justice delayed. We need it now. So with that, I want to turn it over to our leader, our intellectual and spiritual leader on accessibility matters, MTA Chief Accessibility Officer, Kumel Arroyo. Kumel.
Thank you, Jana. Good morning, and thank you, Jano. It's great to be here with all of you today to light up another station on the MTA's accessibility map, number 137 for transit. This is my favorite time attending a station opening. This is my first time attending a station opening since I started as the MTA's very first ever Chief Accessibility Officer. And I'm looking forward to many more in the coming months and years. New York needs accessible public transit to power its recovery and carry millions back to work and school in cultural center places like City Center, Carnegie Hall, and one of my favorite Greek restaurants right down this very block. We must ensure that New Yorkers and visitors with disabilities and so many others that benefit from these accessibility features are part of this revival. With every new ADA station, we can welcome new subway and rail users at a time when the MTA needs them more than ever. My vision of an accessible transit system is broad. For far too long, wheelchair users like myself, riders with vision or hearing disabilities, seniors who have difficulties with stairs, parents with children in strollers, and so many others have struggled to get around a system that wasn't built with us in mind. That's changing now, primarily thanks to Jano and his amazing team, and advocates like the ones you see behind me, and of course, Commissioner Khaleesi. We're using every tool in our toolbox to get to system-wide accessibility and get there smarter and faster. For example, we're working with the city on a zoning proposal that would allow the MTA to more easily work with private developers building near our stations so that elevators and other ADA upgrades can be incorporated into their designs and built more easily and sometimes at no cost to the MTA. It's called Elevate Transit, Zoning for Accessibility, and it's coming up for a vote in City Council this fall. Zoning for accessibility will mean more opportunities to celebrate new ADA station openings like the one we mark here today, and we look beyond our current commitments to a fully accessible system. From Coney Island, where we were at the Cyclones game last week, reminding everyone to take the train, to Central Park up the street. It's going to be a great summer here in New York City. As our city recovers, I'm proud to be part of the work to ensure all New Yorkers and visitors have access to all that the city has to offer with more accessible transit options. Thank you all, Commissioner Khaleesi.
Oh, well, hello, everyone. Thank you, Kumel. Thank you, Jano. I think he's the guy that gets it done. What I love to hear as a board member is on time and under budget. So, Jano, keep that work up. I think everyone loves to hear that. And thanks to all the construction crews. I appreciate you. As a blue-collar worker myself before I was injured, I appreciate all the hard work that you put in here. And all the MTA workers for everything that they do for accessibility. We got our Transit Advisory Committee members that are here today. Thank you for what you do. And anytime that we're talking about accessibility, it's a good day. We need to continue to add accessibility. We heard about justice for accessibility. We heard about using all our tools in our tool chest to make things accessible for people with disabilities. And I have to say, I took the train here from Fulton Street, and just getting out and seeing a nice, accessible station that is not only accessible for me, but accessible for people with hearing disabilities and people with visual disabilities is overwhelming. We need to continue to be able to do this, bring people not only to the core of Manhattan, but also the outer parts of the Bronx that Jano was talking about that never had accessibility. And with these new stations coming up, they're all going to be accessible. Accessibility is the future. Accessibility is now. We need to implement it everywhere we can. And as a board member, I will continue to do that. Jano, I look forward to your leadership more on this. And thank you, everybody, and have a great day.
Good afternoon, everyone. Nice to see you. I'm City Council Member Keith Powers. Welcome to the 4th Council District, and thank you, everyone, for being here today. Before I say words about how important this is, I just want to say a very big thank you to the entire team at the MTA, everybody who helped make this project happen, from the construction company and the contractor as well. Sometimes you don't get enough credit for all these little small or major victories we have in our districts that make people's lives much more accessible and improve the quality of life in this area. So I just want to say a very big thank you and give them a big round of applause. Where we're standing right now is my district, and I have so many constituents who live right around the block or right down the street who are going to use this subway station every day to get around. But if you look around from City Center to Carnegie Hall to all the hotels around here, this is a major block in New York City. It's your access point to Central Park. It's your way to get to work. It's your way, if you're staying here, to get around town. And it is a glaring need here to make sure that we have accessibility for any New Yorker who lives here or anybody who's coming to make New York City their home, even just for a weekend. So this is a big deal. It's a big deal for my constituents, but it's a big deal for lots of people who are going to be coming back to New York City in the coming months and want to be here and, of course, want a safe and accessible way to get around. So I am on board with doing a lot more of these, and I do want to add my support for the proposal coming to the City Council, which would add a lot more accessibility in here. I've been talking about it, and I am a yes vote on that proposal. I'll say it right here, right now. But we have a lot of work to do, and I want to thank everyone for making this possible. We could be standing here at a really important moment finally on a sunny day after a few rainy days, but a metaphorically sunny day in the sense that New Yorkers are coming back. You can feel it here. People are coming back to New York City, and this is an important moment to start talking about accessibility in our subway system. So thank you, everyone, for all your work.
I have to acknowledge Councilmember Powers has been a great partner on many, many things with the MTA, and we're very lucky to have somebody to work with in this really, really important part of the city. So thank you, Councilmember. I also want to acknowledge the gentleman who runs the station's construction operation for MTA Construction Development, Barney Gregg. Give him a wave, Barney. Barney is a refugee from Chicago, where he ran the capital program for a tiny little transit operation called the Chicago Transit Authority, but he's doing a heck of a job for us. So we're going to wrap up at this point. Obviously happy to take any questions, but I can't finish without acknowledging there was a time Tim Minton, who's a very old New Yorker, will recognize that historically New Yorkers, the old story was somebody comes up to somebody in Times Square and says, "How do you get to Carnegie Hall?" And the answer, of course, is practice, practice. And the answer now is take the N, the Q, or the R to 57th Street, and you can get an elevator. Thank you, everybody. We'll take questions.
Thank you.
Thank you again. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I had to use the old practice.